Legal analyst Beth Karras, who is there in Los Angeles. She's been covering the trial all week for In Session on HLN. And Beth, more than a dozen witnesses in the first week. And we mentioned during the break, Richard Seneff, he was the paramedic at the scene. He asked, what did you give this guy, meaning Michael Jackson? And Dr. Murray said just a sedative, and he noticed an IV. He noticed that Michael Jackson was extremely thin. They're in trouble here, it seems.
Well, indeed, Richard Seneff was a good witness for the prosecution. And you know, Susan, what I found really telling was that Seneff said the first question he asked when he sized up the scene in the bedroom, an IV pole, a thin man laying in bed who appeared to be unresponsive, a doctor on site. He's like, are there DNR orders? Do not resuscitate orders. He thought this might be somebody terminally ill. He was wearing what looked like a surgical cap. It looked like the scene of an ill person. Well, Michael Jackson really was quite healthy. He was eating well. Yes, he was a little bit thin, but he was still within the normal range, and that will come out later in the trial. So he didn't have anything wrong with him, yet he was being hydrated. It doesn't look good for the doctor.
So down the road, what do you think the defense will be? That they will show that this is it video and that Michael Jackson was in good health and that he gave himself the propofol? Is that the defense of Conrad Murray?
Well, actually, the defense is going to say he wasn't in good health, and the prosecution is saying he was in good health. The defense is going to say that he self-administered whatever killed him, a combination of a sedative, lorazepam, and propofol. Now, they're not saying exactly how he did it. They'll come up with that, I don't know, at some point when they're presenting their evidence. But he had a very high level of propofol in his body, which was much more consistent with a crude IV drip malfunctioning in a whole bottle, just sort of spilling into his body. That's more consistent with the findings at autopsy. So we'll have to see how they explain it, because Michael Jackson never could have given himself the amount that was found in him, assuming I understand the numbers correctly, and I'm consulting doctors about it.
During the child molestation trial years ago, there was kind of a zoo-like feel outside of the courtroom with so many Michael Jackson fans because, as you know, Beth, he has fans worldwide. Is it that way during this trial? Do you see the fans gathering outside the courtroom?
Oh, yes. They're gathering outside. They're not in the numbers in Santa Maria when Michael himself was showing up at the molestation trial, but especially on the first day. But Conrad Murray also has supporters out there, and it gets kind of crazy on some days. But it has dissipated as the week went on, and I think it'll probably pick up at the end of the trial.
And it's a small courtroom, so you see the Michael Jackson family. They're there. We saw LaToya Jackson going in, and only 6 people. There's a lottery, correct, that you can win, that you can go in and sit in the trial?
Yes, the latter days of the week, though, they increased it to 8. And the winners have been sort of Michael Jackson look-alike, show people who dress like him, people from other countries, somebody who was a high school classmate of some of the brothers the other day. And these are people who are ardent fans, and they sit in the back row, which is actually where I sit, because I sit near the camera operators. And so they're all to my left, and they take notes, they cry sometimes. They're just so passionate about this case.
They're very strict in the courtroom, though. You cannot wear any Michael Jackson paraphernalia. If you do have a T-shirt on, have to turn it inside out. No pins, nothing, correct?
Right. That's correct. Nothing that advocates one position or another. And, you know, Conrad Murray's mother's in the courtroom, too, by the way, on the other side of the courtroom. Obviously, the Jackson family is what's the center of attention, and I see jurors looking over at them periodically when they're filing in, or sometimes when the lawyers are at sidebar, I see them glancing over there. But everything's very orderly, and the judge presiding over the case is strict, but he's a very fair, very good judge.
He is, and he's moving along quickly. Beth Karras, great job in Los Angeles for us. Thanks so much.